Not knowing when to let go might be the very thing that is keeping you from stepping into a new season in your life and from connecting with God in a deeper way. Hey you, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Rachel, and here on this channel, we help each other get through this thing called life with Christ at the center. I cover all things faith, beauty, lifestyle. So if that sounds like something that you'd want to see, please do not hesitate to hit the subscribe button below. What if I told you that God was trying to show you something new, but you just couldn't see it? Not knowing when to let go might be the very thing that is keeping you from stepping into a new season in your life and from connecting with God in a deeper way. Now, I have always been someone who would preach to people or encourage people to learn to be content in the season that they are in. But what most people miss is that contentment can turn into comfort very quickly and then lead to complacency. So life is looking up, right? Nothing seems to be going wrong. You've built a routine for yourself and you finally feel like you've got yourself figured out and you kind of understand God a bit more. But what if I told you that there is still more? Now, I'm sure you've noticed that I've been gone for quite a while. The last time I posted a long form video of sorts on here was last year, July, and part of that reason why I've been MIA for so long. Thank you guys, by the way, for still being here, still rocking with me, still tuning into the videos and listening to what God has inspired me to talk on and what has been on my heart to speak on and to give you guys some encouragement. So if you're still here, go ahead and give this video a like. And thank you again for showing up. So part of the reason, as I said, why I've been MIA is because God basically just turned my life upside down. So many changes happened all at once. And don't get me wrong, they were good. But because my mindset was off, I couldn't see certain things. And it made things a lot more difficult than it had to be. Now, when I finally was able to grasp this powerful revelation and this new truth that God was leading me into, it changed everything. It took my relationship with God to the next level, and I was able to look at loss in a completely different light. So we're gonna dive in the word today, and the Bible verse is that we're gonna be talking about is something that God has been speaking to me on from last year. And so this is very dear to my heart because all of my videos are dear to my heart because they are personal lessons. But I feel like this, as I said, this shift really took my mindset to the next level and the connection that I have with God to the next level. And so I'm so excited to share this with you. So the Bible verse we'll be looking at today is Isaiah 43 verse 19. And I'm going to pop it up on the screen so we can read it together. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. So a lot of people use this Bible verse, myself included, before God really opened this up for me to understand it so much deeper. We tend to focus on the fact that God is doing a new thing. And while that is wonderful, it's exciting, we should live in hope and expectation of all the things that God will do. Here's what we sometimes overlook, right? In order to walk into the new, a release has to take place from the old. You have to walk away from the old. Just before this verse, you will see that God was reminding the Israelites of how he delivered them from the hands of the Egyptians, from the hands of Pharaoh by parting the Red Sea. And right after this reminder, he says, forget the former things. Now, why would that be? It's simply because we can't build our hope on past glory. We will miss what God is trying to do because we're here clinging to what used to be and we're clinging to the old. God is trying to reveal himself into a new way. He's trying to show us a new opportunity. But because we're so used to seeing God working this way, we've been so used to God putting us in this position. We've been here in this place that God has placed us, in this season that God has placed us. We believe that this is it. Right? We believe that this is it, and we believe that if God is going to do a new thing, it's going to look like what he has done before. And that's not the case. This is not the case here with what he's trying to get us to understand and what he was trying to get me to understand in the season that he was carrying me in. So we'll tell ourselves things like, oh, but God gave me this. God told me this is where I would be. God led me here. So I must always be here. And that is the assumption that we make that keeps us stuck and not being able to see when God is telling us that there is a new thing that he's leading us into. And when we're not seeing this and we're not perceiving it, the place that we have been in, that God did lead us there, because it's not a question of if God had led us there, but it's the fact that we do not know when it's time to move on, and we don't want to let go. And that is when it becomes the wilderness, because God had already moved on. He is already in the next season waiting for you to catch up. And so this was my problem, right? God was removing old things from me. He was shedding my old skin. He was shedding old things from my life. But it made me frustrated and upset and sad because I could not understand why. Why was God taking away something good, something that he gave me? But the truth is that he was calling me into something bigger. He's calling you into something bigger. He's calling you into something greater. And he wants us to believe the new about what he can do, the new about your destiny, the new about the calling that he's leading you into next. Do not be fooled and think that just because something looks good, something is thriving, it's fruitful, everything is going well, and because God sent you there, that it means that it's your home forever. And for you, it might be a relationship, a friendship, your career, or a mindset, that God once had you in or once served you based on where you were at in your walk or where you were at in your life. But no, it's time to move on. If you don't perceive this and you're not willing to let it go, it's going to keep you stuck. And I get it. I know it's familiar. You're comfortable. You're doing great. It's what you've been used to. But do not be trapped. Do not let it trap you into not moving with God and being in alignment with God. When he moves, you move. Where he goes, you go. And that's how it should be in your relationship with him, in your walk with him. Think about Abraham, right? God told him to get up and leave everything, leave his family, leave his country behind, leave everything behind to go towards a place that he had promised him. If he didn't move, if Abraham did not move, he would have never stepped into being the father of many nations. He would have never stepped into what God was calling him into the promise that God was giving him. He didn't know what it was going to look like. He didn't get a full plan, but God commanded him and he obeyed. And his obedience is what led him into the promise. So until you move, it will not activate what God is leading you into next. And that is what you need to understand. So some of us are here asking God, what next, God? What's happening? Where am I going? But you still haven't obeyed the last word that he gave you, because it is with the last word, the command that he has given you. Once you have moved, that is when you will see other things unfold and more instruction coming forth to tell you where you need to go and your next steps. Or even take Elijah, for instance. During the drought, when Elijah cursed the land, God had led him to a brook, but eventually the brook dried up. Why? Because God was telling him that there was a shift. He was trying to get him to see that there was a shift and he was not meant to stay there. There was something else there for him to go and do, which you would see it was with the woman that he had helped further down the line after he had left the brook. When you stay stuck in a place that is making you comfortable, in a place that God is telling you to let go, you miss the opportunity to see a different level of God, to connect with him in a deeper way, to understand him in a deeper way, to grow your faith, and to also help others. That is, I think, one of the most important things. We tend to forget we're not on this earth for ourselves. We are here to help others. And so you can also miss that opportunity as well if we are refusing to move. And lastly, if we take a look at Lot's wife, she wanted to look back. She was clinging to the old when God was trying to get them to move out, because that place had destruction, that place had death written all over it. But because it's something that was comfortable, she could not let it go. and it cost her everything. Something that I want us to understand is that peace doesn't always mean purpose. And just because you're comfortable and everything is going okay, it doesn't mean you're in alignment with God. And some of you have been feeling the shift where certain things don't really feel right anymore, and the grace that you once had to do something has been lifted, and it feels a lot more difficult, like you're pulling teeth and have to put in extra effort to get through that thing or deal with that person. But instead of following God, we choose to cling to what is comfortable. To see God in a new way requires us to do things that we have never done before, to go places that we have never gone before. Don't confuse assignment with the promise, and do not confuse a resting place for your permanent home. Where the presence of God goes, we go. And when He's no longer in a space, even what seems like the most beautiful season that you've ever had, it becomes a wilderness because the presence of the living water is no longer there. Everything dries up once God has left. So now it's time for you to ask yourself and ask God, most importantly, because we can't be trusted, and God can reveal things to you that you probably cannot see on your own. So now is the time for you to ask God, where are you calling me now? What was the command? What was the instruction that you probably have given me, but I forgot, or I ignored because I was comfortable? Those are the questions I want you to be asking Him right now. If something right now in your life feels like it's shifting, do not fight it. Just pray for the courage to follow Him wherever He goes. If this message spoke to you, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who you think may need to hear this and need this reminder. And if you're looking for more content to help you with your walk with God, to deepen your faith, grow your relationship, and also discover things about yourself that you may not have known because you just don't know how to ask the right questions, please do not hesitate to subscribe. And I also have a newsletter. You can subscribe to our email list. I will leave the link in the description below. I'd love it if you join. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.